The voice that is heard deep within the soul is my voice.
Oops.
The voice of inspiration, of intuition, of guidance. Listen to the voice of the heart. Do not listen to the voice of the mind. Mind wavers, heart does not falter. Mind fears, heart is not daunted. Mind is the house of doubts, reasonings, and theories.
Yeah.
I got mine.
Wait, just a second. Let's pause on this one.
Mm.
No, that's, I mean, that's one of our best guides. If we can kind of be sensitive to, receptive to intuitions and inspiration and move with that
Swallow first.
instead of the normal mind coming down and telling you what to do. I mean, it simplifies things a lot when intuition starts to become the guide.
I have felt that my heart has been exploding
Yeah.
the past few months. And then this past week with it having it off and then Circle of Friends and the center, I felt like my heart was the biggest it's ever been. And yesterday I woke up and I felt nothing. And it scared me. And I thought, you know, because this is how I felt when I was in India. And I couldn't believe that I was able to recapture that open-heartedness in my own home. And so it just started breaking my heart. And I realized I was thinking, because I have to go back to work tomorrow. So I was thinking about work. So my heart had closed.
Yeah.
To work with your heart open.
Now, the moment I realized that, I started working on opening my heart back. And within a very short time, I was back into just happy land.
Yeah, beautiful. And the heart actually can direct the mind a lot better than the mind directing itself. You know, but Baba did say that intuition is always 100% correct. It's just accessing it that's the great challenge. Distinguishing it between the deliverances of the intellect and the deliverances of intuition. Yeah. They look very much alike.
Oh yeah, I've come to help you in winning the one victory of all victories to win yourself. Not sure what that means.
Can you say it again?
I have come to help you in winning the victory, the one victory of all victories to win yourself.
Well, I think you know what that means.
No, I don't.
Hazard a guess.
You know, it didn't really, I'm not really sure. He's going to help me win myself, like my real self or something.
Yeah.
Self-love.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
The love of the higher self, which is yours truly.
Yeah.
Baba.
Oh, I thought you meant you.
But it is you.
It's
No,
you.
I thought it meant Jeff.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Well,
Jeff too.
Not me. Boy, if you try to realize me, you're gonna find yourself in a bad place.
That quote sharing meeting was good, I guess, right?
Oh, it was really good. I thought that quote sharing meeting was, I mean, to hear one magnificent quote of Baba's after another.
Yeah,
All
she's
from-
got it here in the chat.
Yeah, all different camera angles on the one truth. It was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's probably my favorite meeting ever.
Oh, is your favorite?
I believe it's my favorite meeting ever. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty darn good.
Yeah, we might even do this for, say, what, Baba's birthday or something. Hey, we got Damien here.
Hey, guys.
Any stories of being with Darwin that come to mind, or just off the top of your head?
Well,
he went to school, college, right there in Schenectady.
Kind of an interesting coincidence. I went to Union College, which is an old
college in Schenectady where Darwin and Jean lived. And I never knew they lived there because I didn't find out about Bob until like senior year of college. But I used to go to this place called Jackson's Gardens. And it was a beautiful formal and also natural garden. And I found out years and years later that Darwin and Jean used to go there frequently. And that was my place where if I needed to kind of just chill out and tune in to nature, that was the place I went. So you could feel it had a very strong vibe there. But I found out years later that Darwin and Jean used to go there often. And Jean, you know, had 3 kids, Lowell, Leatrice, and
Renee.
And, you know, I think at the end of having kids, Jean kind of had a postpartum depression. And so Darwin would specifically bring her to that garden to cheer up her spirits. So
And
yeah.
You know, it was one of these like garden rooms. It wasn't, you know, you went into this little enclosure, right? That garden.
Yep.
It was like a little, what they call a garden room. That's, you get in by a kind of leafy portal into this garden. Kind of sunken. It was beautiful.
Exactly. And then within the garden, there were other small rooms, beautiful, you know, just naturally created. But it showed me how Baba was working. I mean, I got really some of my strongest spiritual connections in that garden, and sort of showed me how Baba was working with me long before I knew about him.
Yeah.
One of Jean's favorite songs was "In the Garden."
That's right.
I come to the garden alone. That one, I think. Yeah.
And he walks with me and he talks with me, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song.
And then Jean would remember, you know, Jean was, we know about Darwin, we're reading his book, but Jean she was a gem in her own. She was like an angel.
Yeah.
And kind of could, on the outside, could be fussy at times, but she would always say the right thing that would lift your heart up. And she used to tell us how she would walk in the garden around the guest house when she heard that song that Hugh mentioned, In the Garden. She would remember walking with Baba in the guest house garden.
Yeah.
And of course, when she shared that, you could almost feel you were walking with her in the garden with Baba.
Yeah. Such a beautiful smile. Speaking of intuition, she had a great intuition.
She really did, you know, Jeff. I remember one time I had gotten divorced, and I was, you know, a hard time. Any of us who have been through that knows how hard that is. And I went to the meeting in Schenectady on a Saturday night in their house. And usually I didn't talk personal things, especially with Darwin or Jean, but I felt so moved. I had to just share with them a little bit what was going on. And so I shared with them, I think it was before the meeting, and Darwin was kind of, it was a little bit detached in his response, and, you know, just stay with Baba. And Jean immediately said to me, I'm feeling pretty bad, you know, and she said, oh, well, you should go out with my daughter, Renee. And it was like, you know, it was weird. It's like, here are these people I love very much, and she's offering her daughter to me. and it was like, my heart just leapt up like, oh my God, they love me. And she's saying there's hope, you know.
Beautiful. I mean, and even though that seems a little odd, it would just design in such a way that would lift your heart.
Exactly.
Even if it wasn't, you knew that wasn't going to happen somehow, that feeling of family.
Yeah.
That comes with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Baba. Anyone else have a quote that,
I found
oh,
my
Kathy.
quote.
Yeah.
I guess it's my quote. I thought it was just for everybody who got this Mayor Center newsletter, but I'll read it. Maybe you've seen it. It was a good quote for me. Remain cheerful in all your trials, for then I am helping you all the more.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
This whole weekend I had like muscle spasms in my back, and I could barely do anything and just have felt under the weather. So I am taking that to heart, and it was really timely.
Give us that quote again.
Remain cheerful in all your trials, for then I am helping you all the more.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that was definitely for you.
Yeah.
Because I got a different. Well, I got a different quote. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. It was somewhat about how to deal with the trials. I can't remember it right offhand, but definitely a different quote.
Wasn't that one about, it told you to marry Renee?
So this was really meaningful for me because it's something I've been struggling with for a couple of months now. And this just really hit home. Unless you question, you will never learn. Let not the false sense of propriety or fear of blasphemy deter you from questioning the why and wherefore of your being. The answers to these questions will lead you to perfection.
That's the one that I often quote to somebody who's not necessarily a Baba lover, but it's we have to be kind of fearless in our search, whatever our approach happens to be.
Can you read that one again?
Yeah.
Sure. Unless you question, you will never learn. Let not the false sense of propriety or fear of blasphemy deter you from questioning the why and wherefore of your being. The answers to these questions will lead you to perfection. And the reason it was so meaningful for me is because, I go to a lot of these meetings where we're reading different books of Baba, and several of groups where we're reading God Speaks and so forth. And, people tend to get into these sort of contests about what Baba meant by this or that. And there were times when it got a little bit heated. And I decided, well, I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to stay out of it. And then, it's really tempting to jump in and say, well, wait a minute, that's not how I understood it. But anyway, this really satisfied me. Unless you question, you will never learn.
Yeah.
So another way of putting it is, unless you participate, you will never learn.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. I know we used to, when we do these quotes every year, we would say Baba's name with every cut, and then every fold with Baba's, and then I would put it under the cushion in the lagoon cabin for a day or two. And then I would take it and put it over in Baba's house, take it over there, because, there's all these questions and all these quotes, but what if it, what if they're inappropriate or something? So, we get people to fold them up, Baba, 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 Baba. So by the time they are in that bowl on New Year's, they've had a lot of Baba's names said over them. Dan, Dan's got his hand raised up there.
I've got a quote here. It's a short one. It comes off the Baba calendar for January, but it's from the last year's, the last page of last year's calendar.
Yeah.
It's an interesting quote. Ignorant souls seek faults and weaknesses in others without first finding their own defects. And for some, it is a lifelong job to ridicule knowledge with a capital K, knowledge, when unattainable.
Read that one again. Now, I don't remember that quote. Go ahead, read it again.
Yeah. Ignorant souls seek faults and weaknesses in others without first finding their own defects. And for some, it is a lifelong job to ridicule knowledge when unattainable.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that one.
It says it's from Lord Maher on page 1883.
Yeah, this is the quote I got from you and Angela, Jeff.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't attend the quote sharing, but it was so wonderful to just see that on YouTube. Very deeply touching, moving meeting.
Patty
So
touched it all, you know. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, Patty's quote was so deeply touching.
Oh,
it was
you
wonderful.
had us in tears.
Well, I actually got, Cassandra sent me the whole thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, Mayor Prasad, but Sandra sent me the whole context and the quote where it all came from. And it was great to get the whole story. I just cried through the whole thing, but it was, yeah, this whole weekend has been beyond the beyond in my heart. It's been great.
Well, your quote has been spreading around the world.
Yeah, really, Cassandra.
I sent it to a bunch
profound.
of people and they all can't get enough of it. There are people who were crying when they read it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't really believe that any person who has love for the beloved can't help but think, I don't live up. You know, I mean, how could I do this? And I know I'm hurting you, and how can I make you suffer, kind of thing. It's really, but the Lake of Love and this section from Bal Natu that you sent out of glimpses really helped actually to see it in context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna read it?
Well, I don't know. Mayor Prasad's busy.
Yeah,
we're close. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me read this then. This weakness of seeing God in things you like and shuddering at the idea of his existence in things you don't like or abhor must be overcome. It is only when you rise above all these ideas of good and bad and recognize, see, and feel beauty in flowers and filth alike, and find God equally in all, that you could be said to have known and learned something real. M.S. Iran.
Beautiful. Read that once again, Mayor Prasad. Wow, that's the whole thing right there.
This weakness of seeing God in things you like and shuddering at the idea of his existence in things you don't like or abhor must be overcome. It is only when you rise above all these ideas of good and bad and recognize, see, and feel beauty in flowers and filth alike, and find God equally in all, that you could be said to have known and learned something real. Yes, Irani.
Yeah. Yeah, these quotes, to hear them all as one after another for about an hour and a half. Boy, it was powerful. Oh, I know what, Patty. Patty, save it at the very end, and we'll have a few moments of silence now.
That's perfect.
How does that sound?
It sounds beautiful.
Okay. Jai Baba. Okay. It's incredible that this many people have shown up after that extravaganza. You guys are gluttons for punishment here. Endure this. You'll be able to endure the spiritual path at this rate. Here's what, Bill Cliff, who's down the bottom of my screen in the middle, sent me a photograph of the front room of Darwin and Jean. And it looks so small. I mean, I think it, in actuality, was probably 10 feet by 15 feet. I don't know, I might be wrong on that, but when you were in there, it was so spacious. I mean, the atmosphere kind of dissolved the walls, and you were in a lovely realm, much bigger than 2 Castine Street, the house. But anyway, I was going to mention, we'd have these meetings there, and afterwards, Jean would bring out apple juice and cookies. And one time, after the meeting, people were standing around, and Darwin was right near me. I've mentioned this before, but it probably bears mentioning again. And Darwin normally didn't, he didn't offer too much. Rarely. I mean, he would, I don't know, for some reason, he would, I mean, personally, but we were standing there and he looked at me and he said, Jeff, you are not the personality self. Now, I had no place to put that. I mean, my whole idea was my personality self was me. And the whole object was to get to know me so well and then learn how to improve me and improve me and improve me until I reached the goal. And here is Darwin saying this, and like I say, I had no place to put it, but the truth of it, the truth of it, I could feel. So what I did is I filed it away, and I'll see if I evolve into the truth of that. I mean, and over the next decades, more and more the truth of that became clear to me. But, he's talking about self-effacement, emptying, being hollowed out. So he used to say, he used to say the personality self, that means all of you here on the screen, the personality self is just a storefront for the soul. And we make such big deal of the window displays and we change them with the seasons when we could go inside and enjoy the priceless merchandise that's inside. Going through the door into the spiritual side of ourselves, you might say. So that was quite an eye-opener for me, for him to just say something like that point blank. And that was rare. I mean, Bill, you probably know if he unloaded a few things like that on you, but he didn't, not too many did he, say to me. Any that come to mind that he said to you that?
Not right now. I'm having a little bit of Zoom fatigue, so I'm just
kind
of listening, Jeff. And if anything comes to mind, I'll pop in some point.
Okay.
Right?
Well, let's go ahead and I think everybody who's here. Well, if you don't, what we do is Angela will choose somebody to read. You can pass without any problem and read a section, and then people can speak up about how it might relate to some experience in their own life. Examples can be helpful because Darwin writes a lot of these things with the idea that people can fill in the examples, but sometimes it's helpful to hear a life example of what Darwin's talking about. Okay.
All right.
What page are we on?
Page 28 of the book. That's
Okay.
16 of the PDF, the section called The Light of Grace.
A great many ambient factors are involved in the withdrawal of consciousness from the dual realm, and it would be impossible to mention all of them. However, one of the most important factors is the grace of the master. Divine grace is a power or force of light that can dispel, even altogether eliminate, ignorance or falsehood. It can dissolve darkness, erroneous thoughts, and complexes within one's consciousness. Sometimes we have to direct the light of grace into various areas within our own hearts. In other words, at the subjective level. By this, I mean that instead of assuming that grace will take care of everything, we are actively accepting the intervention of divine grace as a great light that will dispel the darkness within us. If one is conscious of the heart center, then one hopefully has enough inner vision to realize where one needs help. And one can oversee, to a certain extent, the working of grace in helping one's own heart center by shining the light of truth on it. It is like directing a light onto a particular dark spot, which then makes it light. However, it is difficult to generalize because as individuals, we have our own individual dark and light spots, and they are not all the same. The Master reveals to us as individuals where we can clean out our Augean stables, a little here, a little there. In his own way, he reveals where our mistaken analysis and judgment have led us to the wrong conclusions. At least that has been my experience. I find that when I feel a surging force, the energy of divine grace, I am able to direct it where it is needed the most. It is like a continuous gift, but it needs direction in order to counteract specific limitations and bindings.
Does anybody kind of share an experience where things opened up on the inside and it allowed you to kind of see a bit of the interior of the heart and do some work in there to reroute things or offer some of the things that are in there to Baba, some of the complexes, or work at least somewhat on some of the inner complexes? Anybody has a who could has an example of that?
All right. I had so many opportunities, especially over the last 3 days, to experience the light of grace and consciously direct it. Not just when I was leading the workshops that I did this weekend, where directing people to do that directly from Darwin's words in this paragraph, directing the light of grace. But for me personally, there are some repetitive thoughts and feelings that are crippling to me, and they have to do with the past, the present, and harshness. And so many times today, especially when Wendy was talking about that gesture of Baba's, that you wipe your ass with Baba's order, that was huge. Like, that's literally what I've been doing when I allow those repetitive thoughts or feelings to take hold, and directing the light of grace to that. And I have had such a good laugh with Baba about it. And I'm so grateful for this paragraph, just in the great blessing I have to facilitate any healing forums, and especially this weekend where I read those literal words. So it's fabulous.
Great, beautiful. Yeah, wonderful, Cindy.
Ken and Betty?
Okay. So a few weeks ago, when we did the heart-centered meditation at the end, I expressed that I had had a very, very powerful and transformative experience in terms of knowing that the healing of the relationships within my family, it was accomplished by grace in that moment, because for so long I've been showing up with willingness. For so long I've been sometimes literally on my knees and releasing it. So this past weekend, we went to visit one of my daughters, and I didn't know, in my brain, I can't figure out, with the Betty brain, the personality brain, I can't figure out what's going to have meaning in someone else's heart. And that's where divine grace comes in and tells me and shines the light on exactly what will transmit the love. And that's the experience I had this past weekend with my youngest daughter. And it was like a love fest. It wasn't the weekend. I guess it was late last week. It was like a love fest. And I wouldn't have had a clue. So I showed up with the willingness, and the light was shined on us. So the meditation, the whole thing, it continues to unfold in my life. Baba.
Beautiful, Betty. Beautiful. Great example. Victory unto thee.
Yeah, very nice. And Janet.
I just want to ask Cindy a further question. So, and I understand what Betty was talking about on kind of a more like a relationship, but something inside myself, like a repetitive thought that you were speaking of, Cindy. My question is, I'm not sure how to shine the light of grace on it. That's where my confusion lies.
Can I answer that? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
What happens is when I have these spontaneous moments of loving God or cultivated loving God, when the thoughts aren't there, when I'm aware that I'm in that state, then I remember, hey, Cindy, you got that thing that keeps happening to you. Send it there now. So when I'm in that expansive state, I send it to that part of me that's not active at that moment, but that I know comes back a lot. And that's how I personally do it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
As far as shining the light of Baba's grace on the problem area, if I've taken a lot of yoga, and they always give the instruction, breathe or send the breath to that area where you feel physical pain. So it just struck me that there's an analogy there. It's like it is a transfer from just the physical and breathing to try to let that dissipate or release, and shining Baba's light.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah, that's just, that's what Darwin always recommended.
Nice. And Marcia, go ahead.
This is a perfect example. Yesterday I was in a hurry and I read the quotation, and I know the quotations are from Baba. And then I said, whose signature was that? And I totally embarrassed myself, and I couldn't lose that all day, feeling like, oh my God, everybody's gonna be seeing how stupid I am. But then I decided to, so I wasn't gonna, I said, I'm gonna be silent from now on, because it's just things pop out of my mouth, and maybe it made me look at the things that I had to look at, because I couldn't let it go that easily, It's like, okay, so I'm stopped now.
Yeah. Well, you're beautiful, Marcia.
Marcia, your contributions are very valuable. Don't think of it that way. And Dyan?
So Janet, from where I sit, and I don't know if it's the same thing, the lighting for you is so incredible. Everything was dark, basically dark all around you, except for your face was like in light, like a spotlight, like you had a lighting person paid to do that. So that I saw grace shining on you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Can I say something too? Marcia, you're wonderful, and don't beat yourself up so much. You have Bubba inside you who loves you, mistakes or no mistakes. It's no big whoop. And we love you too.
Beautiful, Terri.
Thank you.
We're a happy family. And Gabriella?
I was just remembering that at times when I've had a lot of physical pain, I would go to the center of the pain with my consciousness, and in the very center, it's like as if I was taking my light into that darkness of the pain, and in the very center of the pain is no pain. So I go right to the middle of it, take all my consciousness into the middle of it, and I think I'm taking Baba's light and directing his grace into remove the physical pain.
Beautiful. That definitely works.
Very nice. And Elizabeth?
Yes. So, when you first started talking about this and Cindy was making her comments, I was thinking, what is that all about? And then I realized I actually had that happen today. And I had forgotten about it. And it was the film about Baba at Harmon on Hudson. I think they call it Croton or something like that. But anyway, I had this really profound experience actually seeing Baba, and I actually, it's hard to explain, but almost like he was really there, with cold chills and all of that. And so what I did is there are things that I have as burdens, and I started breathing in, like in the meditation, breathing in Ba and out Ba, and literally using my hands to throw the burdens off onto him as this was going on. So I actually was doing what they were saying, but I had no idea what I was doing. So it was spontaneous, trying to give whatever it is. And I was paying attention to physical aspects as well. I felt a tightening in my throat, which I was throwing away. But I suppose I was doing it, but not really aware. I was just following some kind of internal thing. But all I know is somehow that film, which has never affected me before, did something major to me today, including the drinking of the water that Baba did. And I'd never heard of an explanation. And before they explained it, I decided to get a drink of water and drink it with Baba. And afterwards, they explained that what that was is drinking either the spirit of love or the spirit of life, life-giving water, that it was symbolic. I had no idea what I was doing when I did it, but I found out afterwards. So I don't know, it was pretty amazing.
Beautiful. Wonderful, Elizabeth. So let's love through grace.
Yes. So that's page 29 of the book.
Love through grace. It is the Master's inestimable great gift of grace, when we are aware of it, that inspires our own love for Him more and more. And this awakens more insight, intuition, and inner level awareness, and even awakens us to the prospect of actually merging by degrees with His consciousness. But our love for Him should be without wanting and without bargaining. We love Him just because He is most lovable. His loving force of grace is an essential part of our inner awareness, and we are being sustained by grace. As individuals, we will find salvation through grace, not through our merits, and thereby, as we clear out the veils, we can rest in a deep inner state of peace and harmony. Because we will see that we already have security and sanctuary in the Master's love and grace. For that, of course, we are very grateful. Say Baba.
Beautiful. The word grace and grateful are really the same word. Gratefulness is the human experience of when we receive grace. It results in gratefulness. Yeah. Anything that anyone might say? Chime in.
Rosalie, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, someone was mentioning seeing a film of Baba. I mean, I think that is the peak of our civilization, that we have the avatar moving, not just still pictures, but we see his motion. I mean, I'm not enthralled with all of this technology, but I am enthralled, and I feel Baba is real. That's reality on film. I've gotten more Prasad because he tosses Prasad. I don't miss a toss. Anyway, I think it's like such a high thing that we can see him. You know, it's like such a grace, you know. It does increase the yearning for that physical closeness, you know, when he comes again, you know, it's just powerful. Jai Baba.
Yeah, wonderful, Rosalie. Yeah, we are so fortunate to actually see this. The first Advent where we actually see him in movement with his moods and the way he responds, how he responds to people. We've got enough material to keep us busy for the next 700 years.
And that he is so very human.
Yeah.
He is so human.
Perfectly human. And Heidi?
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my internet connection, so if it freezes, Baba's will. I was thinking and feeling about the when Darwin said in the previous chapter, feeling the surge of Baba, and I think in my experience, and I think everybody's is different. That's why it's so beautiful to share. You know, there's grace that you know and feel for big transformations and limitations, and there's been many that have been transformed. And there's little ones day to day, like even when you're cooking dinner and I feel like a mini surge, I guess. And, you know, like maybe I was overwhelmed and I forgot an ingredient, and I feel this mini surge, and almost like I'm transforming into a little Mansari, and Baba gives me a message. Put this in there. Don't forget this. And to me, that's grace too, you know.
Yeah.
The other day, I had this fascination with the song Amazing Grace, and I always wanted the story. I wanted to read the story of Newton. And so I was shopping, and I gave a donation. I have this game I play where I try to find things in thrift stores and see what I can attract. And so anyway, I was mulling around, and I found this Amazing Grace. It's the book, which I wanted, on the story of John Newton and how grace transformed his consciousness and then some. And I thought, oh wow. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is a wonderful thing, but you have so many books. Maybe you shouldn't get it. You just flooded with books. It's like an addiction. It's crazy. And I'm stunned in the store. And then all of a sudden, I feel this little surge. And I know I'm going to get a message like what to do. Should I get it or not get it? And the store clerk announces on the microphone that, oh, shoppers, just want to tell you that all books are half price today. And, you know, the book was only $1 to begin with. So I thought, okay, Baba, yes, this is for me. This will help me with my transformations, big and small. And I just want to mention that in little things, because I think Baba's gracing us all the time. He's talking to us. And sometimes it's in a language, it's our own language, it's our own, you know, thing. So anyway, it's a beautiful thing. And Darwin, I love your sharing the stories, because when I read Darwin, I can just imagine him quietly directing Grace. Didn't he, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah.
And to others too, I think, because some of the stories you share is like sort of, you know, he would get a Grace, like maybe I should share this with Jeff, like you're not your personality self. Isn't that Grace too?
Yeah. Oh, it was life-changing.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Always, Heidi.
And Cassandra.
They've got you, Cassandra. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. You know, just to tag on to what Heidi was talking about, I've always, not always, for many years, I believe that we develop a private language with Baba. And that language is developed through what you pay attention to, right?
Beautiful.
So if you think about, you know, people who read tarot cards or tea leaves or whatever it is, that becomes their private language. And that's how they interpret it. But each of us, your attention is very, very powerful. I call it the most common currency. And it's...
Uh-oh, we lost you. Cassandra,
where you're paying attention, that's where Bob... Oops. Can't hear me?
We got you now.
Okay.
You're back.
I don't have the best internet either. What I was saying was, you know, the attention is so powerful that it creates this connection between you and the universe, focused down into that one space. So Baba will always meet you wherever you're paying attention. And it's up to us to look up and see him, if that makes sense.
Excellent. Wonderful. Beautifully said. I just mentioned one of the things that it kind of connects with all that you were saying is when you find yourself in an expansive inner state because of some lovely thing that's happened, rather than just enjoying that, sometimes that expansiveness is a great place to bring in your negative complexes and give them to that expansiveness like a bonfire. And you can throw a lot of stuff in there and it'll burn up for the duration of that expansiveness. I mean, it's a way of clearing out your interior so there's more room for Baba to live in you. So that was one of the methods of Darwin that always was helpful to me.
And Ruth?
Hi, Jay Baba. One of the things I have to bring this up, it's through the paragraph Love Through Grace, and it says, as individuals, we will find salvation through grace, not through our merits. And I think that's kind of important for me. Yeah, I think that it's, well, for instance, I'm in 12th step and I did a 4th step, which is the searching and fearless moral inventory. And then 5th step is to admit to God, myself, and another human being. So I had to actually like repeat it to Baba what all my things were about. But it took a long time to do that. I did it at the center. It was I couldn't do but an hour at a time because my sponsor told me that. And I should pray before I looked at those things inside myself. Because once it started, it was like turning a spigot on. And so I had to ask Baba to, protect me and help me through. Anyway, the process itself of just that searching and fearless moral inventory is part of what I think when I read this light of grace, looking for those dark spots inside myself, those dark places. And then it's the final, not the final step, but the next step is asking God to remove my defects of character. So I don't actually get to say, I want to get rid of this one. No matter how much I say, I want to get rid of this, that doesn't mean that's the one that is going to go, at least in my heart, in my mind. It's going to be the one Baba picks. So it's kind of a surprise sometimes to see the thing in me that shifts and moves through grace. And it really isn't anything I've done, but I do have to do the footwork, which was that kind of searching and fearless moral inventory. So that's what I got. Thanks.
Great. Yeah. Darwin used to say, you can't heal what you don't feel. You have to get in touch with those things. And then Baba can, you can't just have Baba pick up all the garbage in your house and haul it off. You at least have to package it and put it on the back porch or something. Anyway.
That's funny. And Anthony?
Thank you, everyone. This has just been great hearing everyone's comments. I'm not sure I totally understood this at first, and it's just coming out more and more. What I'm really feeling, I've been through recently, and I guess over the years, hopefully people can relate to this, is just when you know that something's kind of not right in a certain area in your life, but you don't know exactly what it is yet. It might be like a certain pattern you have of, lack of self-confidence, or something that you don't even know you totally have it, but you have an idea something's not right. And what I'm getting from Darwin and just the whole effort and grace theme is just how much we have to own that, and seeking out what is that thing that's not right, and doing what we can to kind of hone in on it more and more. And I've found that once I started doing that, the grace does kind of show up and start showing you like, oh, wow, this is what it is. And I recently had somebody come in my life that was just a wonderful experience that gently pointed out some of these things I had in just such a way that was able to start healing them. And I was like, oh my God, these are some childhood patterns that I wasn't aware of. And so that process is just incredible of seeing like that vagueness that, hey, something's a little off. And then seeing how Baba just takes it and brings it into shape more and more. So you can see like, wow, this is what's been going on. But I understand now how much I have to participate in helping to dig that out and shine that light on that. I guess after enough time, it might work itself out, but it seems like that would be kind of slow to just wait. So, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Beautifully, very clearly described.
And Rosalie?
Jay Baba, it's really fun that Damien said he would take us with him to the center because you could see him walking around in the picture. This is really fun. But anyway, I was saying, if I've gotten any pearl, like incredible thing from coming to this effort and grace, it's giving it all to Baba. That is such a great help for me. And I've got plenty to give, and and knowing he wants it all, give it all. He wants it. It's an incredible freedom in that you don't have to think, should I give that or like get into a worry thing. So it's like liberating, give it all, you could see dumping over the cliff or, Jai Baba.
Yeah. Great, Rosalie.
That's great. And Mahu.
Okay, sorry, I want to read this Baba's code. That's why I'm looking at my screen. Okay, yeah, I agree with a few people, and also what Anthony just said about us really owning our so-called weaknesses or imperfections and take responsibility for that. That's very important for us to take responsibility for what we need to enhance, what we need to give to Baba, what we recognize as our weakness. And instead of, I see people sometimes get angry with Baba. So I'm very angry with him. I don't want to read anything from him. I'm very angry with Baba. Let's just be, I'm in a mute position. Or, sometimes we take liberty of, dump it on our neighbor, friends, co-workers, and whatnot. But anyway, so this code of Baba also helps us to think of it a little bit deeply, and this is in discourses, and it actually comes from same discourses that Darwin coding Baba in the beginning of this chapter. So I had to look it up. I saw the code again, I looked it up, and I came across the end of this discourses that Baba says, or perhaps toward the end, and Baba says, all finitehood and limitations are subjective and self-created. With the surrenderance of self-will and ego-centered imagination, there arises a true perception of the infinite worth of that which is, and he puts is in capital. Everything is once the ego-centered imagination goes away. And here we go. But I also, as I was listening to a few people, it just came to me. I had this pondering in my head or my whatever mind or heart, that although we're all here now, we're sharing this together, which is so wonderful, keeps our focus at least centered on Baba. That's the minimum. But yet we all are individualized souls, as Baba says it in God Speaks. What does that mean? We have our own journey toward God. We have our own path toward God. For example, myself, when I look at my life from before up to now, and it's a new year, and we're just kind of doing self-inventory now and look at the past and whatnot, what worked, what didn't, and da. But I realized when I came to Baba, my life was completely service. I mean, if I would not be involved in any committee work, let alone a director I was, and I would be upset. Just, oh my God, they're taking my right away from just serving Baba. I want to be member of this committee, that committee, that committee, that committee, whatever. And well, that was my perception of service at the time. Then my life changed. This is all due to his design. Then I went into the self-reflection mode. I kind of went into self-isolation, so-called, or seclusion for at least 2 years, reflecting and sort of meditating and some inner work and whatnot. And then recently, I got an illness happened to me that was really drastic. Took me about a year to recover from it. And that brought surrendering to me. That was humongous. And not unless I would have gone through that, not unless I almost was disabled physically and not being able to stand on my feet and whatnot, I would not be able to get it, that everything is his. Everything is his, and he's all it. Just find something that is not Baba. Everything is Baba, and everything is according to his will. So, you know, I just wanted to share that, that, you know, all of our reading is so wonderful because we learn more and more and we become aware. Awareness is the first, perhaps, the step and so forth. But we're all on our own individualized journey. It's us and Baba. The way he's guiding me may not be the same way that he's guiding Angela or Jeff or whatnot. So this is important for us to almost be aware that it's you and Baba and nobody else. And he comes first. Just listen to that voice within. He's always guiding, always guiding, always guiding. And Jai Baba, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mahoo. Very well put.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stopping the veil-making machine. In Meher Baba's omnipotence and care for humanity, his purpose is to raise the consciousness of everyone and everything in creation, and in particular of those who love him. So we have to be prepared to grow within his love. There is a biblical saying that, roughly paraphrased, says, "Unto whom much is given, much shall also be required." If we wish to draw closer to God, we must be prepared for further effacement and heart purification, an emptying of the heart of all our sanskaric veils. This can be very extensive because it challenges the general paradigm that is accepted by everyone. The fundamental misconceptions that the illusory creation is based upon and the spiritual limitations we are brought up with. So, stopping the veil-making machine is not a matter of armchair theorizing. It is work that is up to us to do. Growing pains are involved as we work our way toward God. But if we finally get fed up with running around the reincarnation wheel time and again, we are going to expedite the process. Otherwise, if we just wait for freedom from the need to reincarnate to happen automatically, it could take ages. Even if we still want to come back to serve the avatar, we want to be able to provide a clear consciousness for his use. But we have to cease limiting ourselves. We have to stop thinking, oh, this can't happen. I won't have liberation for many, many lives. With God, all things are possible. He can actually do anything. Meher Baba as the avatar is the incarnation of divine love, and he is above all laws. Nothing can confine or limit divine love, and no law, no set pattern or precedent can restrict him. He is our best friend, and not only our best friend, but also our ally, working with each one of us. He has consummate understanding and insight into the sanskaras of each individual, and he really does work within us to expedite our freedom of consciousness. I feel that this is what is going on full strength now that he has dropped his physical body. So, as we work to sort out all this sanskaric determination that is impelling us to reincarnate, and we open ourselves to the Master's grace, he is right there with us, confirming and consolidating our previously acquired intuitions and perceptions, and precipitating our consciousness to higher and freer levels. These levels or layers of consciousness unfold in an orderly progression of 7 steps, from instinct to reason, then inspiration, intuition, insight, illumination, and finally, realization of God. In other words, these levels comprise the steps Baba takes us through as he confirms and consolidates the fruits of our efforts. Meher Baba means to liberate us, so let us not inhibit his work by saying, I can't do that now. I'm bound with all these things and it's going to take ages to grow out of them. Let us not wait for 1,000 years more. It could happen at any time. I feel that we have to accept and believe in the highest possibility in this incarnation. We should not procrastinate, not put off for another incarnation. The primary point is that we are spirit and we need to become conscious of it. To do this, we have to stop the veil-making machine and dare to forge ahead to form a friendship with the master within. This is something we can constantly work on. Otherwise, we prolong our suffering, which is what I believe incarnation really is.
Wow. Great reading there, Larry. That was super clear.
I love it. That was just what an incredible passage, and even more incredible having Larry read it to add the inspiration to it. Yeah, I'm totally feeling Darwin on this. I just, I've felt this for a while, that our ambition and our enthusiasm to reach the goal is going to play a big part in getting there quicker. I think I've used this analogy before. It's when I was in college, I enjoyed it. It was great learning and going through the process and, studying, and then the, tension and the anxiety in some of the classes, and then doing good and learning, and then having good classes, bad classes. But all in all, it's as good as it was. You're kind of ready to graduate after a certain amount of time and just be done with that part of your life. And it's just, with seeing what had to unfold to get on the spiritual path and the challenges and all that, I couldn't imagine having to be born again and go through middle school and like all that stuff that went on back then. And they really emphasized that this weekend at the Sahavas, that we're, Rick Chapman, how we're right in the middle of this 100 years after the Avatar was incarnated, where he's still on Earth. And he said something like the jewels of grace are falling off the Avatar like Solomon's treasure, and they're here to just scoop up and make use of this opportunity and make hay while the sun is shining. So it's just, the more I hear that, it's just like we are in the golden opportunity right now. Like, why not get really serious and try to bang it out and get this, finish this life? And I just, when I hear Darwin say that, of how possible that is, it's, why not think that we can pull it off this life? Why not have that, what I call almost like this false humility of like, oh, I could never do that. Like, I've got so much to work on. And like, yeah. And at the same time, it could go the other way too, where, we could possibly be done this life. We're in the golden opportunity right now. So I love it. I'm totally with Darwin. Why not, go for it? We're all here. We've got Zooms.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Jay Bob.
Yeah. And even, like he says, clearing your consciousness, so if Baba comes again, you can be a vehicle for him and not have to resist him, and have, you're more of a vehicle that he can use, even if you have to delay your realization for a while. To be here with him is that, Darwin would say, you look at the movies, you look at the photographs and everything, is nothing I mean, he would say this privately, there is nothing like Baba right in front of you. It is just, there's nothing like it. You know, I mean, he would say, that I can't really say that because, you know, people feel they missed him, you know. But having him right in front of you is possible even now with us. Does, you know, it can become that real an experience. There's a line from the Christian mystics where it says that the saints found Jesus within them, and the early Christians found him beside them. So this is the time when you can have Baba right beside you. In the future, we may have to dive deep into ourselves to find him, but he's right here next to us if we can just look over our shoulder, so to speak, and develop that ability. So.
Wonderful. Elizabeth, there you are.
So the phrase the sentence that caught my attention was the one about the 7 steps, that these levels or layers of consciousness unfold in an orderly progression of 7 steps, from instinct to reason, then inspiration, intuition, insight, illumination, and finally realization of God. So I was wondering if any of you could elucidate specifically insight and illumination. I think all of us know instinct and reason, inspiration, what artists and musicians have, or anyone who is inspired with great thoughts or creations. Intuition we know, but the two, insight and illumination, are a little puzzling.
Okay, we're gonna we'll have that on the plate there, because the next 2 people may not be responding directly to that, but we'll get back to it.
Okay.
And Martha?
Yeah, this maybe has a little bit to do with that, with Elizabeth's question. I'm just wondering, I always think of consciousness in levels, like a level of consciousness, you know, like an ant's level. And then, you know, as we're progressing along the path, we're, you know, maybe we're getting rid of our veils and we're increasing our level of consciousness. But in this sentence here, it says to expedite our freedom of consciousness. And then later on, it says our consciousness to higher and freer levels. What do you think Darwin means here when he's talking about freedom of consciousness? That's kind of a question.
Okay, good question. We'll hold that one. That's kind of connected also with Elizabeth's.
Yeah, very nice. And
good question,
Ray.
very good. And now from Florida.
Hi. Yeah. Just a comment about that Baba can be here with us. And it brings to mind when we say the prayers, Baba said, when we say the prayers, doesn't matter how we say them, he's there beside us. So for me, that's very, very heartening, because at times I could feel like in Italian, we say stunad, which means thickhead, you know. And when yes, so at least once a day, when I say the prayers, I have Baba right next to me, even though I might be a stunad and not really feeling me, he's right there. So that's my comment.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And when you say his name, you know, he has to come. He doesn't say, oh, well, forget that. Oh, Ray's saying my name again. Forget him. I'll get back to you next week. Okay. So we have, so Elizabeth was asking about insight and illumination. Now, one of the things is, I mean, Darwin talks about there is the eye of the heart. It is actually a faculty, you might say, where the eye, you actually begin to see with your heart, and it opens up so that you're getting insight, view, you know, the view from within. And that's an illumination. I got a figure from, I've said this before, this is from Sri Aurobindo. He was a six-plane saint. Baba gave him liberation in the end. But he gave the difference between intuition and illumination. And he gives a figure of it's a moonless night, totally dark, and you're stumbling through the countryside to get somewhere. And you know, you're having a difficult time, and then there's a flash of lightning. It illuminates your ground for a certain way. You're able to go for a certain distance, knowing where you're going. Then you're stumbling around in the dark, and another flash, and you can move and continue moving over the terrain. Eventually, when the flashes start to happen more consistently, and so you're getting more and more of a view of the countryside you're moving across. When there are enough flashes in the sky that you can begin to see where you're going, and there are enough flashes that keep things illumined, that's when you've moved from intuition into illumination. But you can see it's very gradual. It's not like, oh, wow, you just had a couple of flashes here and now you're in the full blaze of illumination. It's a very slow process, but every little intuition you get, it lights the path. You know, the relationship between you and Baba, it starts to light up, flash by flash, until, like Darwin, there he is. Baba's right in front of you, and beside you, and above you, in you, and around you. Yeah. I don't know. Now, Martha, does that help a little bit? Ask your question again.
It was basically in the book. It just there was the one sentence that just sort of caught me: to expedite our freedom of consciousness, and I'm just thinking that might be, you know, just the freedom of consciousness being, you know, getting rid of the veils. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't really think I've heard that term too much.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way Darwin describes it. When consciousness starts to free itself from narrowing down, being bound by things, then you get a little more room inside. You know that, and you're lifted to a higher level of consciousness. You're not pulled down by your hang-ups and your weaknesses and shortcomings. You get a little space there.
Yeah,
where
I like that. Yep.
And you can see what's going on. I mean, Hafiz used the term the interior of the heart, the dome of the heart. Eventually, the dome of the heart opens up, so you can actually see in there. But one thing I should say, though, is that this is one of the major ways of following Baba. There are other ways of following Baba that don't necessarily have this inner conscious journey that Darwin is talking about. There's some people, some people that follow Baba, longtime disciples, they don't even bother with this stuff. And yet they are perfect vehicles for Baba's love. So this is a particular approach, and one of the major approaches to moving closer and closer to Baba.
And Heidi?
Yeah, I put in the chat the works of Hazrat Khan connected indirectly to Baba because he was the master of Rabia Martin and Rabia Martin to Mercer, and you go back. But he has the series of books, The Sufi Message. And there is one called The Way of Illumination, and it's just about the process of illumination. And it's just gorgeous. It's just really supportive, and it's special because you could feel his experience of illumination in the words. He just had a way of saying. And so, it kind of like helps you tap into what your way of illumination will be. I can't explain it any other way, but it's a beautiful book, but so check it out.
Yeah, The Way of Illumination.
The Way of Illumination was one of the distinct books separated out from the Sufi message. It was so important that it generated its own work.
Awesome. And Elizabeth?
Yes, I just, Jeff, who did you say talked about the Dome of the Heart? Did you say Hafiz?
Hafiz, yeah.
And that's like the opening up of the dome, like what you would normally see at a mosque or something like that, for the light to come in. Is that what you're?
Well, it's yeah. I mean, there's the next stage is the sky of the heart, but the dome is meaning there's more room in there for, and like a cathedral, the light comes in and everything, but you get some light. The heart is much larger, and consciousness is you're able to be conscious that you're inside of this cathedral. But eventually the cathedral, the whole ceiling cathedral goes and it becomes the sky of the heart.
So where are these allusions? These.
I'll try to get it to you. I've got some. I read that the other day in a translation of Hafiz. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And Cassandra?
I just wanted to share with you what is one of my favorite quotes right now that helps to put things in perspective for me. This is from Ghazali, from The Alchemy of Happiness. The farthest limit achieved by human reason through the principles of the illumination of sublimity is bewilderment. When you reach bewilderment, you're on your way.
Good. Yeah. Rumi talks about wonder and bewilderment, where your intellect just cannot grasp what you are experiencing.
There's a whole stage of study in Sufism about bewilderment and perplexity. I think that's very encouraging to me.
Yeah.
And Gabriella?
Yes, I was just really appreciating how it seems like we're all growing so much, and I certainly can say for myself that a couple of thoughts here. One is that I have noticed, like today I was listening to some music. It was a Francis Brabazon music. Somebody had put his music, and the piano playing, I didn't even get to the words. I felt the love of that person's piano playing. I felt their love for Baba in the piano playing. It touched the strings of my heart and vibrated the strings of my heart, and to tears, which I don't know that I was that sensitive in the past. I mean, I've always been pretty sensitive, but this is like at some other level. Now it was emotional, so that makes me think it was emotional, but it was a different kind of emotion. It was connected to Baba, and a lot of these words that we're using are related to light and illumination, which I don't know. I don't know if that is anything, because these are words, but I know it was a deep experience. And then I had another thought I wanted to share, which is that years ago, before I came to Baba, I was in India with another teacher studying meditation, I got kind of thrown out of the ashram when I saw through the teacher and acted really crazy. And then when I first came, it's a good story another time, but when I came to Mehrabad for the first time, I met Eriko by the well. Is there a well there? I remember we're by a well. Okay, we were by the well. And I just suddenly was inspired. I just started telling him my whole story. And he laughed. He says, "Was that you, that crazy American girl? I happen to know the police chief, I'm good friends with him in Kulu Valley, in Kulu." And it was very funny, and he's laughing, that he knew what heard of me for being this crazy American girl that got kicked out of the ashram. So that was kind of wild in itself. But then I said, Eriko, I feel so sad. Now, of course, I was all of how old was I then? I was maybe 30. I said, "Oh, Eriko, I feel so sad that I've wasted my youthful vigor on the wrong master." And he said, he laughed. I said, "I don't have the energy I used to have." What made me think of when Anthony was being so energetic, he's young and he's strong and he's energetic, and I thought, how can I think that I could experience that in this lifetime? When I was, 22, 23, yes, I was sure to grasp that and say, I want to do that. But anyway, it reminded me that Eriko said, "Papa doesn't need your energy." He started laughing. And I'm like, I'm not sure exactly how that fits with this, but when I hear this, I don't want to get overwhelmed or feel like I'm too old and I'm too tired and I've been through too much to think that I might be able to do this in this lifetime, because I have a different kind of inspiration, or what. It's different now. I'm older, and it's deeper, and it's within. And the way Darwin wrote it, it's for the young person in my mind. He says, "You can do it. Don't worry. You can do it in this lifetime." But I think he can speak to me, I believe. It can speak to me in a different way from within that heart, within that deeper longing. Thank you.
Beautifully, Gabriella. Beautifully said, spoken. Ooh, we got Leica, huh?
Yes, hello everyone.
Yeah.
Well, that just reminded me of one time I was with Margaret, who I had the distinct, wonderful privilege of living with for an entire summer. And one time she just turned and looked at me and she said, "Baba said that he couldn't even begin to use us until we were well over 40. Didn't have a thing to offer him." At the time, I was in my 20s, late 20s. And I was like,
Great.
"Oh, okay."
And they were in their 40s.
I just wanted to tell Gabriella that.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah, the notion of bewilderment just makes me think of having beginner's mind again and again every day.
Say that again. Back up again, Stu.
I said that the notion of bewilderment makes me think of the saying, having beginner's mind, and again and again and again.
There's a Zen saying, every day you have to climb the 1,000 steps to the temple. You can't do 250 today and 250 the next day. You have to go all as far as you can go every day. And it's kind of a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah. And Ruth.
All right, I can't help it. I know Baba said that he can't use this until we're over 40. However, I know there are exceptions to this rule. I'm speaking for those young people out there that may not be in Zoom with us today. We talked a lot about this intergenerational communication. So Yeah, I think I think it's really important to honor all the ages for what they bring to Baba. How about that?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus the enthusiasm, the young people, Kitty and Elizabeth would have us young people do the programs because we had all sorts of enthusiasm and imagination and carelessness and stupidity and everything to get the job done.
And Leica?
Yes, I did preface that by saying that Margaret told me that Baba had said that to her. So Margaret was well over her 40s, so we don't know what context, that was for Margaret. And Margaret was sharing that with me just to, giggling, and it was not meant in any kind of a way to demean, my relationship or my efforts, but Margaret was very tongue-in-cheek, and she loved to take a little, she liked to challenge people. Anyway, everybody Baba is using, and especially that love him.
Yeah, but that was a great quote, Leica.
It certainly made us laugh. We have 12 minutes. You think we can do another section, or you think...
I don't think we can. Plus, aren't we, isn't that the last page?
Yeah, that's the last page of a chapter.
And well, let's see what the next chapter is, purifying our hearts. Yeah, we'll put that off for a week and just let the impurities just kind of float around.
There you go.
In the heart.
Any concluding comments, maybe?
Well, one thing, we wanted Patty toward the end to read a quote that she had, Patty Curtis.
Oh,
but anyone else have anything just to on what we've read today? Any thoughts or reflections?
That was me. I didn't quite get what Baba told Margaret that she cannot use until 40.
Yeah, so that goes back to Leitka.
Yeah, okay. So he did what she said to me, which was very tongue-in-cheek. One day when we were sitting around, we used to joke a lot with each other, but she was serious. She said, well, Baba told me that he couldn't even begin to use anyone until they were well over 40. And the context with which that came from was, I can't remember the surrounding comment, but basically she was saying, lest we think, oh, well, Baba's doing his work through me, or Baba's, which a lot of us can kind of go there. To just give it all to Baba and to realize that it's Baba doing the work through us, has nothing to do with us. and that was what it was. It was something that Baba had said to her. And she didn't tell me the backstory of, maybe she was feeling like she was too long in the tooth, a phrase she used to me one time about dancing. But she used to give me dance lessons in Dilruba living room. And then, and I just loved it and everything. And I think I was like 28, 29. And one day she said, because I was going to be doing this dance thing, and she said, well, darling, don't you think you're just a little bit long in the tooth? It kind of killed my aspirations for that. So
what does long in the tooth mean?
It means
old.
Oh.
It refers to horses because horses' teeth keep growing.
That's right, Angela. Yeah, don't you think you're a little too long in the tooth? It was like 20.
Kind of like clopping around in Dilruba living room?
Yes, I was decaying and all kinds of things. And she would go, no, the arm should be here. It was really just to entertain her and to entertain myself. But that was just something funny that she said to me. Not that I was going to resume my dance career, but in ballet, at least back in the day in ballet, your career was pretty much over. Mid-20s was considered old. So I had passed my prime. But anyway, to answer your question, it was that Baba just couldn't do a thing with people until they were well over their 40s.
Sure.
Okay, I just have something real quick. You know, I wanted to thank everybody. And the thing that I got out of this session the most was, you know, about the self-limiting thoughts we have, and particularly self-judgments. We shouldn't care about where we are. You know, we are where Baba put us. And the way to be most useful is to be what we are right at this moment. So that was my insight.
Yeah. Love from this moment. Okay, so what we'll do, maybe we'll have Patty read, and she's going to read her this quote, extended quote, and then we'll maybe have a few moments of silence at the end.
All right, thank you. And also, Cassandra, I think that really leads right into this whole, my quote, actually. I'm going to read the quote as it was presented to me and then the context in which it was given. I know exactly how you have tried, what you doubt, how you've tried to overcome this confusion, and how you eventually have come to me. All that means that you have not failed me. M.S. Irani. And this is taken from Balna to Glimpses. There's a page number and stuff. The Lake of Love, Mayor Baba. Margaret Scott had met Baba during his last visit to the States in 1935. She thought that her way of living had caused Baba to suffer. She expressed her apologies for her inability to please him. And here's a conversation. Baba, and this is what he said, but your love has compensated for the suffering. I know deep down that you do love me, that you do love Baba so much. Baba loves you too. And then Margaret says, sometimes I'm very naughty just because I don't understand. I think I understand now, Baba. The most important thing is to understand that we must be honest to God, Baba, ourselves and to humanity. Honest in the sense that in loving God, there is no compromise. Have you anything to ask? Margaret, I just don't know. And then she came the next day and repeated that she had failed Baba and felt grieved because he had to suffer for her. Baba assured him of his love and continued. As for suffering, I have suffered for myself and for the whole world, and mostly for my intimate ones. So definitely, I have suffered for you. But you love me. Hence, the suffering has been compensated. I know exactly how you've tried, what you doubt, how you've tried to overcome this confusion, and how you have come to me. All that means that you have not failed me. Everyone commits mistakes unless one is a perfect and one with God. But love for Baba wipes the mistakes away. We must remember that God is all truth, all beauty, and that our love of God for Baba, we must be 100% honest. Purity, honest, and love. God wants these three, and you love Baba, so don't bother about anything. Weaknesses will go, defects will go. Even if they linger on, love will one day consume them. In the ocean of love, everything disappears. However dirty one's mind be, the love that has will, the love one has will wipe it out completely. In you, you have a lake of love for Baba. Even if you were to wash your face, all dirt, every day in that lake of love, the lake would remain clear. So for every defect, every weakness that persists, you need not bother. It is being washed off. You must love with all your heart and honesty. Love demands that you think not of yourself, but of the beloved. So don't worry. Baba loves you, and that really matters. Jai Baba. And it's from Glimpses, the God-Man, Mayor Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Wow. Wow, that was powerful. Ooh.
Would you share what was powerful for you?
Oh, no, I just felt, boy, a huge expanse of Baba's love and light and presence just filled the whole interior space with all of us in there. Wow, it was a little. I didn't really want to end. You know, I didn't want to just fall asleep like Damien. You know, I wanted to. No, no, I'm just joking.
To be honest with you, I opened my eyes and you raised your arms up, and I didn't know what, where you were going.
Well, I was going to say Jai Baba, but then I just like, hey, I don't want to leave this. I don't think we should. I mean, I don't know whether it's just me or, everybody. So I said, well, I better just drop back and wait. The silences at Darwin and Jean's place were like that. And they would go on for kind of a prolonged period. And you kind of get dissolved in this immense presence of Baba's love.
Well, it was gorgeous to watch you.
Yeah. I think Stu's got his hand up there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Patty's reading so much, and
oh, beautiful.
I was thinking that today, during the Sahavas, at one point we were asked to think of experiences we've had with personal messages from Baba, and it made me think that years ago I was sitting in the Samadhi alone for an extended time, and all of a sudden I heard and felt Baba say to me inside, I love you just as you are. There's still work to be done, but I love you just as you are. And that meant so much for me.
Beautiful.
That was so cleansing. And I kind of felt like he said to me, okay, now you have a clean slate up to this day, and there's still more to go, but that just went very deep.
Yeah, beautiful message. Yeah, it's not like, you eventually get it together and then he's really going to love you. It's offered right now. Anyone else have anything that comes to mind?
Well, I have, like I said, I was listening to this Francis Brabazon song, and I wondered if I could just read the words. It's one you probably know. From In Dust I Sing, the very first one. It's not too long.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have waited all night for you, and now the dawn has come. From distant places we came. There can be no returning home. We know it is morning because of the dawn's cool fingers upon our hot eyelids, and we can hear her sweet singers. We cannot be sure now whether it was her own yearning that expected you, or you promised. It matters not in this burning. Neither have we your brightness, nor will we behold the new day. We lost our eyes in the darkness, and are adrift on tears' waves' way. Blind, witless wretches whose song the wind carries with the seagull's cry, bold fellows brave enough to leave home, but not daring enough to die. Still we are wrapped in a glory to all other men denied. We once touched the hem of your dress. This is our spirit's pride. What is it to us that somewhere the world's sun will presently rise? Sometime this darkness of nowhere will be lit by the light of your eyes.
Ooh. Yep.
Bill sang a song on that, I think.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Boy, beautiful, beautifully read. And I mean, here's somebody that's right there, a stenographer, you know, kind of writing right in Baba's presence. That's what it's like. Ooh, beautiful.
What book was that from, Gabriella?
It's the first poem in Dust I Sing.
In Dust, D-U-S-T?
Yeah.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah. You know, I was working at Sherrier Press, and there was a guy in there working. He was a poet, but he was working and everything. And that book had just come back, and he looks over at me from his machine and he says, "In industry, I sing." the printing industry. In industry, I sing. Stephen Paul Miller. Mm-hmm. Anything that comes up. Wow. Mm. Ah, Janet.
Kind of grace we can direct.
Hi.
What that means.
Yeah, go ahead, Janet. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that this weekend, you know, I didn't do every single event at the Sahabas, but I was thinking about that and this group and about what you say, how you know, this is the group of people you're going to be with for the next 700 years.
Yeah.
You know, and so get to know them kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, that crossed I'm so glad that you said that, because that crossed my mind various times, and it was a comforting thought. You know, it's like, oh, there is a community of Baba people going forward in his service or whatever.
Yeah. No, beautiful. Like Baba said in his last message on the alphabet board, that we would be held together by internal links, not only with him, but with each other. So when I find myself in outer Mongolia next lifetime, one of you better, on some scientific expedition, pick me up, adopt me, and bring me back into the Baba community.
Speaking of outer Mongolia,
yeah,
I have a question. This sounds irrelevant, but it's not exactly. What did I read someplace that Brabazon had eyes that were kind of golden?
You know, I don't know, but someone else may.
The reason I'm asking is she was from Baluchistan, and Baluchistan was one of those places that had been taken over by the by Genghis Khan and his sons and grandsons. That was one of the areas that they ruled, and Genghis Khan was known for his golden eyes. And because I read so many books about Genghis Khan and that time frame, I was just thinking it would be interesting to know if she had descended in some way from that particular culture. Anyway, I've just been wondering.
Yeah.
I thought I read it someplace that she had yellow eyes.
I can't remember, but you know, I'm getting up in age and things are disintegrating.
Yeah.
Bill, did any kind of story or exchange or something that Darwin said spring into mind at all?
Not so far, Jeff. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just don't have anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, we could get Ken. Are you linked up there where you could sing a song? This is Ken Richard. Oh, boy, I've done a lot of sitting this weekend. Oh. I think we normally would do a heart-centered meditation, but I think most people might fall asleep after this weekend. What do you think, Stu? You think we should do it next week?
I'm going to be away next week, and I don't know if I'll have internet, but I was thinking maybe people are kind of zoomed out this weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, if people would like to do it, we can do it, but what do you think?
It's
seems like a good way to wrap things up, though, in a sense, to go out with the meditation.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. What do you raise your hand like this if you're up for doing a heart-centered meditation? There are, and let me see, let me go to the next page here. Well, there are a lot of people, we can't see them.
Yeah.
It's, well,
I think we should do it. Why don't we do it?
Yes,
Well,
let's direct the light of grace.
Okay. I mean, it is a great opportunity to, you know, to marshal up that love from Baba and direct it to the new year.
Let's salute.
Let's do it.
That's looting, yeah.
Rosalie, let's loot.
It's the culmination of the fruit picking of the jewels.
Well, Jeff.
Yeah.
Maybe we could limit the time afterwards too.
Okay.
If you like.
That's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll just come to the end of the heart-centered meditation,
Yeah.
and then that'll be Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need 1 minute to run to the bathroom, and I'll be right back.
Okay, is there anybody who had anything, some last thing to say or share?
We'll catch you at late night.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I go on again at whatever, 10 o'clock, something like that.
Marion Lewis, you have your hand up?
Who's that? Oh, yeah, Marion, yeah.
Oh, hi, it's Marion. I put up my hand just when we were trying to wave or be heard.
Yeah. Oh.
And so I can take my hand down because I would love the meditation. And I thank you all. Okay, I'm here. Thank you.
Yeah. Now we got, first though, we got Ken Richard is, I think he went off to get his guitar.
Bluish eyes. Okay.
Betty, do you think, is Ken up for singing a song or? Oh, can't hear you, but he is, he's. Put on original sound.
Hi, okay.
Yeah.
Turn on original sound?
Yeah, hit
Yes.
original sound, yeah.
Let's see, I better leave that there, I guess. Dusty and tired from wandering, I searched for the holy traveler, and the road from non-existence led me to the halls of this heavenly tavern. Since eternity without beginning, God has made me to love him, and this love will come to splendor as revealed when the journey ends. Within these walls, sitting in a corner, the beloved calls my name. My heart has tasted the sweetness of his voice, like a compass through the age. The jewels of reason and useless pride have been asked for and been given. In the tracing of love's covenant, the price of entry has been paid. So open the tavern door, I'm begging and I'm helpless. Accept my heart, for I have no other claim. And if in my carelessness I have also lost the key, gatekeeper, show me kindness and open the door for me. Within these walls, sitting in a corner, the beloved calls my name. My heart has tasted the sweetness of his voice, like a compass through the age. Since eternity without beginning, God has made me to love him, and this love will come to splendor as revealed when the journey ends. I'm dusty and tired from wandering, I've searched for the holy traveler, and the road from non-existence led me to the walls of this heavenly tavern.
Beautiful, Ken. Beautiful words. Ooh, man. Oh, lovely. Well, we'll if everybody can mute, we'll go on a heart-centered meditation, and then at the end, let's just We'll say Avatar, Mayor Baba 3 times.
Jeff, I'll let you lead that, okay? I'll let you lead
Good, yeah.
the final. Yeah. Ken, that song was beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, Jai Baba. So just settle in even more deeply into wherever you're sitting or laying. And during this time, we'll let the world drift away even more. And start breathing deeply but slowly into your belly. And now let's settle into our hearts and the deep place in our hearts that are the home of Baba's infinite love in us. We all have this incredible gift from him. And the gift never ends, it's always there. And notice whatever you might see or feel. As you're deeply aware of your heart. And now let's pick someone. It could be a person, even a group, who you would like to share a focus of Meher Baba's infinite love with. And it could be somebody you've had conflict with. This can be very powerful with that. Somebody you know is struggling maybe, or somebody you simply would love to share a focus of more of Baba's infinite love with. And just see whoever your heart brings up for you to share this love with. And get a good image of them. And see them and feel them in your mind and heart. And breathe in and notice whatever you might see there or feel. And now let's start to picture Mayor Baba's infinite love just flowing without end into their heart and their heart space. And I see this delicious, warm, liquid golden light of love, this flowing generously without end into their heart and their heart space, filling every bit. And this love is healing, soothing, cleansing, enlightening, uplifting, and forgiving. And it just keeps flowing in endless generosity. And now see and feel the love overflowing from their heart and flowing through. And now filling their entire being, every bit of them. And Baba's just giving freely from the infinite store of infinite love. And now let's give thanks for this opportunity we have and we've taken to focus on sharing Baba's infinite love. And know that you can return here again and again. And let's bid farewell for now to whoever you've chosen. breathe in and gently bring your awareness back to your own heart. And breathe in and take note of whatever you might see and feel. And now let's start to picture Mayor Baba's infinite, delicious love filling our own hearts and heart spaces. And just flowing gently but fully and cleansing, healing, soothing, uplifting, forgiving, enlightening. And see and feel this love filling every little corner of your heart and your heart space. And now see the love overflowing and gently flowing through your heart, and now filling every bit of your being. And know that you always have this infinite pool of love available. And now let's give thanks for Baba's eternal gift of his infinite love. And the availability of it. And let's give thanks for being able to focus on this love in our own hearts and beings. And know that we can return again and again to this pool of his infinite love. And now gently start to bring your awareness back to where you're sitting or laying. And take a few moments to adjust to coming back. And when you're ready, open your eyes. A beautiful way to begin the new year. Deep love. Baba will be with us
as he always is, loving and adoring us no matter what. Let's, I don't know if you want to unmute or just say it in your own home. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Okay. Was I audible when I said Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai?
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all of you have a wonderful week and the start to the new year. And wow, beautiful that we can get together like this. And, see you hopefully next week. Ken, a very beautiful song, beautiful words.
Yeah.
And Stu, as always, thank you for taking us deep into our hearts.
Beautiful, Ken. Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Jai Baba.
Thank you so much.
Baba, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeff, Jeff, you're not doing late night tonight, are you?
Jai Baba.
I am because because I am. I mean, I wasn't thinking that far ahead, so I will be there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Much.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba. Bye, everybody. I hate to say goodbye. I'm having a hard time.